Hello, everyone. Welcome. We apologize for the 12-minute late start. Peter Rogers, forgive us, forgive me. I did not intend to do this. It happens. And guys, here we are. Let's go, Africa. We just started it yesterday and the business continues today. Thank you, everyone, for your massive turnout yesterday. We were honored to host the CEO and his people and you all. And of course, today, let's just have a quick chat. What did you get from yesterday from Ash concerning Africa and the entire world? Because don't forget, we know that we were only honored to host an international webinar. It was not meant for Africa. We were just the host. So let's share what we heard, beginning by the one thing that the CEO says, or he said, that the future is very promising with ONPASSIVE to serve the continent of Africa. But then here it means any Africa, because we had Africa yesterday, but then this represents any other second to or the third world countries or mid-income countries or whatever they call them. So guys, today we have a newest person in the house who is actually the oldest in the house and in the business and in this movement. He's been like behind the stage like forever, and today he decides to show up. So let's welcome our own brother, Pastor Sam Ore. Let's call him PSO. So welcome, bro.
Amen. Thank you, Comfort. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be on your show. You are an inspiration to all of us. We're so proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for encouraging from the back, and you are here today. So welcome, Brother John, all the way from home.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sister Comfort. Your smiles have always been radiating down to us on Ground Zero. They will be having a lot of reassurance from especially the OTech Pros guys. Sometimes when people don't understand what this whole thing is all about, and it's taking millions of years, use the knowledge that comes from OTech Pros, then they say, is that how that thing is?
So now get it.
Help us to be able to soften the terrain.
Right. Okay. So
I'm pleased to be here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, bro. We're happy to have you too. So, Mr. Mana, do you want to be welcome? Then I welcome you, though.
Just try like Andy.
You.
Andy, yes. I'm really happy and blessed to be, among these great leaders.
Yes.
Brother John and our pastor
PSO. PSO, yes. Let's call him PSO. It's easier to say PSO, but if you like to call his name is Sam.
All right, yes, so. Pastor Sam, which is really good, I just hope, and I know we'll have a very good discussion today. So,
I think so too. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, guys. So before we go to the business at hand, let's get to know Pastor Sam a tiny little bit. So PSO, when did you join ONPASSIVE? And tell us just a tiny something about that. We need to know.
Yeah. Thank you so much again, Comfort. Thanks, my brother Collins Manor and John McAfee from Cameroon. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. I came into ONPASSIVE on January 11th, 2019. So it's over 5 years now. And we came together in partnership with Charles Osong and Dr. Stephen Olujimi, popularly known as Dr. O. So we have been working together as partners. But, we decided to say, Charles, because of his technical expertise and his experience in the business, to be the arrowhead while we remain in the background. But, a few weeks ago, we decided to just, put our faces to what's going on in ONPASSIVE globally. Thank you so much. Comfort, again, your smile is very infectious, very contagious. I don't know anyone that will be sad after watching Comfort. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. You're making me feel so special. That's so important to me. Thank you so much. So, guys, let's now go back. Thank you, PSO. So, guys, every day we're discovering our brothers. Those who've been staying just decided to walk at the backstage, and now they're coming up, and why not welcome them? So now back to the topic. Ash yesterday, in the lot of things he said, one of the things that struck me was he says the future is very promising with ONPASSIVE to serve the continent of Africa. So from that, I just brought this as a topic because we can't just come like that. But then let's discuss what were the nuggets, what were the things that Ash said that struck you as individuals. Brother John, do you want to go first, please?
No problem. I can go first. Let me help to try to set the stage for the discussion from the perspective of looking at the demographics. If you look at population and demographics around the world, you find that the rest of the world is aging, especially the developed world. United States, China, Japan. You find them asking for immigrants, all these visa things that are getting. I mean, this lottery and stuff like that is because the population is aging. You go to China, they had a one-child policy. They realized that the population was aging and they decided to change it, but they still have the problem on their hands because it affects the economy. Now, if you come back to, you look at the rest of the world again, it is Africa that has the youngest population. You have about 60%, that those who are below 25 are 60%. If you get up to 30, you have about 70% of Africa that is 30 years and below. What does that tell us in terms of looking at the future and looking at development and looking at the role that ONPASSIVE will play? I'm trying to say that that young population is what, because it is the youth, it's the energy of youth that gives strength to, that generates an economy. They are able to pick up all the human resources in order to make the economy move. So that is why when you are looking at the future of development, it's actually with Africa, because it has the people, it has the youth, it has the energy. That is what drives the economy. That's what drives development. It's just the unfortunate thing that leadership has a problem in the country. Otherwise, would have been leaving the world. So we are placed. ONPASSIVE can take advantage of that population, that demographic, this information I'm giving on demographics in order to drive development and drive a certain investment in ONPASSIVE that can surpass all the other tech giants. So I think that the real future is in looking at those demographics and see how we can tap into them and be able to make a lot out of it, both by ONPASSIVE and both by those of us on the continent and those in the diaspora. So I think it sets the pace for us to be able to look forward in terms of what we were discussing yesterday in that light.
Wow, thank you so much, Brother John. And I found that really powerful. And I'll hand it over to PSO. Would you share the same opinion to what he is saying, or do you have another way of looking at it? It's a free discussion. Go for it, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much, Comfort. I really totally agree with my brother, because Africa as a whole is blessed with a lot of mineral resources. As a matter of fact, we understand that over 30% of the world's mineral resources or the deposits are in Africa, and about 9% of the world population is Africa. So, which means we have more resources that should be able to go round without any intervention from the West at all. But the problem has always been leadership mismanagement. So we believe that what God has used, our CEO to do is to bring a lot of Africans together with the rest of the world in order to awaken the giants in us, so that by the time we have enough, like he has always said, then we'll be able to unleash the extra to develop, the human resources and the capital that we have in Africa, so that this wealth can go around. There is no reason why any African child should go to bed hungry because of the natural endowments that God has given to the African continent. I mean, I'm originally from Nigeria, even though I live in the US, but I can tell you for a fact that leadership has always been a major issue. And of course, unfortunately, the leaders in the religious world that are supposed to influence people in order so that they can think effectively and be proactive and be very strategic, unfortunately, the same bedfellows with the political leaders that are destroying the African continent. That is one of the reasons why, personally, myself and Dr. O and other pastors in ONPASSIVE have decided to take this as a challenge to speak to our constituency, which is the church, to see, you don't have to, take advantage of the poor people But you can't do that if you are struggling financially yourself. So I will speak to the leadership in the African continent so that because again, if you have a lot of money and you're not mentally and spiritually and emotionally prepared, you're just going to join the bandwagon of those who are exploiting the African people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much, PSO. So, Collins, while Brother John was speaking, there's a comment that came from Atayim Alfred, who says Africa has been brought into the limelight by ONPASSIVE, a move that no company of the magnitude has ever done. Does that tie to what the two brothers are saying? Do you have another way of looking at it, or are you moving in the same trend?
Collins? Yeah. So what? Just want to thank PSO and Brother John for, for bringing all of this information out. Yes, that is true. When we look at what, because I read the comment, it is really true, because looking at the other company, what have they really done? Yeah, just nothing. We just know them by chance because Google is because we need them. We can name all of the other company. We just use them by chance because we're moving to technology. But the rapid movement of ONPASSIVE is because ONPASSIVE opened the door for everyone, anywhere, and that is the goal for Mr. Ajmofara, that those who are at the bottom, he said the pyramid, they want to flip the pyramid upside down. Those who are at the bottom to rise to the top, because he said resources is always in abundance. The world is rich in resources, but it's just that the human nature have just deprived people from that natural resources that are all there. Like I agree with my two brothers here. It's just because of the way the dynamics of Africa, the corruption and all of those things, the greed. But again, we're talking about a continent of almost 1.5 billion. We're talking 1.4 billion, 900 plus. So very soon we'll be hitting 1.4 billion population, and most of those population, they are all youth. We're talking about, we are blessed in resources, blessed in manpower, but we are moving now towards technology, so lacking behind that particular area, and that is where the world is going. You lack technology means what will happen? The continent will not move forward. If you look at other continents, like we're looking at a country like Rwanda, why are they growing rapidly? Because the country embraced technology and they're moving. So if the continent can look at it and say, yeah, this is it, things will change. And that is exactly what Mr. Ajmofara is doing, not only in Africa, but across developing countries where people can use technology to enhance their stuff. Imagine if technology is used in our agricultural sector, what will happen? Mechanized farming, robotic engineering that can come in and do stuff. Like there was one question Paul talked about, how can we improve food production? If we don't have the technology, especially with the rapid growth of the way the population is growing, the traditional farming cannot cater for food production. We need mechanized farming. We need food preservation. We don't have preservative means because it's just from farm to pot. And we cook, that is it. The next day you are back in the market. Every day, that's how it is. But how do we cope with growing this? That is where technology will play in, especially with stuff like Africa is an emerging market. But if we enhance every sector within the continent or in the continent, every sector with technology, I'm telling you, give Africa just a couple of years, we'll be flying. Because the knowledge is there, but we can say the infrastructure is not there. Go into every country, you meet top IT engineers in Africa. You meet every sector, you meet those who are really brain. But do we have the infrastructure? No infrastructure, nothing. ONPASSIVE is coming with that. Yeah. That's what I just want to throw out.
I know there was a lot of excitement. I don't want to I just want to let go. So guys, speak freely. So PSO, is there any new thing, any other thing at all you want to pull from yesterday's discussion with us?
Yeah, again, thank you, Comfort. It looks like everything we're discussing is just kind of, they are all interconnected. They are intertwined. Because as Collins Manor was talking, it just brought us a very powerful point about Africa being an emerging market. For anyone that is very smart and very proactive and very strategic, you don't want to go to a place that is already saturated. You want to go to a place that is just coming up, and there is no better place to go to Africa. And thank God for our friends in the West, who are part of this particular discussion now, because I see a lot of people, who are not originally from Africa, chiming in this discussion and at the chat, truth chat. And we're so encouraged, and we want to thank you and want to appreciate your friendship and your love. But I'm telling you, Africa is the place to be. Let's go there, because there are so many opportunities there. Apart from making money, for me as a minister of the gospel, as a pastor, I'm thrilled and I'm excited. It's so comforting to see that God has given you an opportunity to be a part of a system that is enhancing the human value. There's no greater joy than to say that, well, this person will have been destroyed, this person will have died, this person will have been consumed, if not for my intervention through the grace of God. Nothing can be more fulfilling. And I'm telling you, Africa is a place where you have all of these opportunities in one place. Amen. Oh, exactly. Sorry, I said amen. I said amen.
Yes. Amen to that. All right, listen, let me concur with you on behalf of Muhammad Kamal yesterday. Muhammad Kamal says, I appreciate all the big African nation. It is a virgin market. That's a big word in business to the best of my understanding. Now we can have all of Africa available. Dr. Tarek told me as Dr. Kamal, Mr. Kamal, Dr. Tarek told Mr. Kamal that Africa is primary market to pursue. Does it tie with everything you are saying here, Brother John or Collins? Whoever wants to go, let's comment on this, or you add, or whatever you have in mind. Let's just take it out there. And guys, we welcome all the comments. Just keep them coming. Let's have this discussion.
Okay, if I can go, I don't know what is Collins going or go.
Go on, Brother John. It's all right then.
Okay. I think what he's saying is what is actually happening. We've made reference to the youths, that's the human resource. We talked about the natural resources. We talked about the fact that technology has not yet taken hold. So it is actually a virgin market from all angles, if you look at it. So the real issue now is, when you look at it, first of all, I'm happy that you have our brothers and sisters who are out there, they are actually in the field. Because the young ones who are here and are interested in IT cannot have the bandwidth to be able to function appropriately. And if our brother Collins was here, maybe the desire or the anxiety to understand, maybe that urge to get into IT might have been dried up by the lack of a functioning internet service or a good bandwidth to be able to function. So all of these things is also about will. ONPASSIVE can actually come to the continent and will meet the kind of leadership that does not have the will to move ahead with development, and you're still going to crash. So how do we overcome? Because how do we overcome the greatest of those problems, which is the will to be able to accept technology? You can go down to, you may have examples like the man of Rwanda, who is encouraging people who have skills to come to Rwanda. That's an example of some political will that exists, a leader who recognizes that the economy needs technology in order to advance. So those of us who are from the continent need to start thinking aloud, how we're going to do it in such a way that ONPASSIVE comes with all the goodwill and they are accepted with all the goodwill for it to be able to function. Look at development, for instance. The model of development that came from the West. You can design something with all the goodwill, it comes, and if the people on the ground are not in the frame of mind to accept it, you still end up realizing that it is not just a good intention that matters. It is a matter of understanding the terrain, who are those who are there, how can I function, what are the difficulties that exist, how am I going to go around those difficulties. So it brings into focus our role as the Africans maybe the African, let's say the intellectual, both at home and in the diaspora, to be able to figure this out. How do we solve this kind of problem? Because you have somebody who is in a position of taking decisions. He doesn't see any reason why there should be social media, because social media, IT means that it facilitates information. When information is facilitated, it means that lots of things will be unearthed. And the person who is sitting there and hiding information doesn't like that. That is where there is no will. So how do we go around that? That's a key problem we have to think about.
I think, Brother John, I'm very itchy on this because I don't want it. I don't want to lose it. So how do we go from, where do we go from here? That's what Brother John is saying. And earlier on PSO, you made us understand that yourself and Dr. O, which I can testify because he's been here severally, he's yet to come back full force. You are trying to like take the gospel of ONPASSIVE to your own institution, which is the church. Do you think, because one thing that Brother John is worried about is that will. People are ready now. We've never had this opportunity. Somebody is happy to do it for us. We are not sure if the leadership is ready. Can the church step in and educate the people about the goodness of what is coming? Because this is where the 21st century people are, and get this, still go back into our, communities without having to go through leadership and stuff. Not like bypassing or disrespecting, but can the church step in to,
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm glad you asked that question, and I can speak on that from now to tomorrow, because our dear brother just mentioned something very powerful there. You see, gone are the days when pastors and leaders in churches will say, "Oh, I'm a full-time pastor, I'm a full-time preacher, and I'm not supposed to do any other thing." I think that is a fallacy. It is a misconstrued, it's half truth, to be honest. Because when I check the Bible, even I know I'm not preaching, you see God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All of them were entrepreneurs. They were businessmen. I mean, and God was not ashamed to be identified with them. Now, when you go back to the New Testament, you find that Apostle Paul being a tent maker. I mean, he wrote 2/3 of the Bible. I don't know why anyone should say, "Well, because I'm a preacher and because I'm a pastor, I can't do another thing." And unfortunately, that has given rise to a lot of people that today are not charlatans, who are taking advantage of the people and just robbing them, unfortunately. So we have brought a lot of pastors into this, because there are still some genuine pastors who, with just little resources, they can empower other people in their congregation. And so from grassroots all the way up, we are building people of integrity by God's grace. But the truth of the matter is that if somebody has integrity and he wants to do the right thing, but he himself is hungry, he doesn't have resources to do what he wants to do, there can be a room for compromise. And so to say the truth, it becomes very difficult for that person. But if you already have your own money and you are now preaching the gospel, you are preaching it because God has called you, not because you want to make a merchandise of God's people. So we are getting a lot of pastors who are seeing the vision. And I'm telling you, many of them want to remain in the background, just like I've been for 5 years. But there are some pastors, trust me, comfort, mega pastors who are in this. And we're going to see more of them eventually. And through that, we'll be able to influence the political class. And there's going to be a revolution on the African continent. I promise you. Yeah.
This is very promising, and we need to come back to discuss just this, because if I open this up, it's going to like change our track of discussion. This is a whole thing that's lying deep down my mind, and I feel very happy right now. So we need to come back to discuss just this. So Collins, I know that our brothers have said a few stuff. Where do you want to go from here? I'm not sure what you want to do. Just go for it, bro.
I just like what our brother John even touched about where do we go from here, which is really good. And this is what I've always looked at when you're thinking about Africa. How do we grow in technology? Because The population is growing very fast. We can't deny that. The population of Africa is growing. Infrastructure is not growing. You know, you look at the we're not talking about road infrastructure, we're not talking about all of that. But let's take a simple banking system in Africa. We are lacking behind in technology. I've seen it. Look at the queue. Sometimes you go, you come back in the afternoon, there's just, so you look at the queue, people are just standing queuing just to, you know, to pay in and come out. What is the problem? If they can, why is it difficult to automate the system? It's simple to automate it. So you get less people who are standing the counter, who can just go deposit their money and come out, because time is money. That queue, you know, in every situation is delaying productivity. You go just to deposit something, you stay for 2 hours, 3 hours unattended, you leave that place, you are at that time unproductive. Imagine 2 hours of your time wasted for nothing. You can look at all the other sector, waste of time. You know, time is money. We are moving, the world is moving very fast. And if we don't embrace technology, we'll also lag behind. We have moved from agricultural age to what? To industrial age. Industrial age is going. We move to what? We move to maybe tertiary. Now is technology era. Because of the way things are going, we need technology to do what? To help us to do the repetitive job that we are tired of doing. If you go to the banking, let's take, for instance, I've been in a bank in Cameroon. Even those who are customer service, they are tired. 2 hours, you look at the queue, say, my God, how? I don't know if I'll finish all of this. You already, but the moment you see that population, there is brain fatigue. What if you automate that system where people can just come in, do their transaction and go, and there's less people, machine can do most of those things. It is easy to be done. It is easy. But it's just that, as our brother John said, the will is not there. Because the time has come where Africa need to embrace certain things as a friend, not like something that will harm you, but it's something that will facilitate and ensure that the country, the continent will grow rapidly. Repetitive job must be automated. So people can you can free that time for people to do certain things that we cannot automate, machine cannot do. We can concentrate on that. But when we continue to do repetitive jobs every time, what will happen? And the more you embrace technology, you create jobs again for the continent, because people now just imagine, say, take the simple banking system, all of those cash machines, there are people who become engineers to repair it if the machine breaks down. There are just to go, that mechanic to say, all right, this thing is broken, let me go and fix it. And it will create jobs in that sector. It will create a lot of jobs, even in the IT, those who will be monitoring the system and stuff like that. But we have a lot of brain waste, you know, in Africa, because people study, they grow good degrees. At the end of the day, zero, because there is no infrastructure to enhance that knowledge. Look at how many people graduate from university. Every time you look at them, you said, where are they going to work? Because there is nothing coming out. And sometimes, I'm sorry to say, I say sometimes like education is a cartel for Africa. They use it to take our money, but they don't create anything for us to hang on it. So it's a sad situation, but what can we do?
I know. Not that what can we do, because like PSO mentioned earlier on, a hungry person would be easily compromised. We four know what he means by that. No need to go into the root of it, right? But where we are now is a situation where this company is about to empower people. If I am financially empowered, I have time, I have the finances, I can do what I want to do and how I want to do it, and I'll go ahead and do it. So there's something that Ash said yesterday again, Brother John, that all he needs is that more homes in Africa should get internet and leave the rest with him. Just comment on that in the most layman terms so that Mama and Papa, them that are listening and whoever, will take something home, because this is a big deal. Not only for Africa, it's so hard for us not to say Africa, but then we're using it as an example. It applies to any other third world country, guys. Drop comments, mention other countries, other continents and stuff that are part of this, share the similar situation in your part of the world, your continent. Let's discuss this together. So, Brother John, Mr. Mufara just wants internet in more homes, if not every home back home, and the rest is left for him. So, over.
Okay. I think I also believe that we need. He's touching on the. I think he also touches to a certain extent on the idea that we have to do something as well. When somebody is coming to give you something, there is a certain something that you have to do. If you don't do that little bit, you will not be able to receive that. If he says he wants us to have internet, it means that you have to. There has to be some input. So that's part of also our role, to be able to help people understand that we need to do something. It is not just simple charity. Simple charity is not sustainable. It just makes you lazy. It makes you complacent, and you'll not be able to do anything. So that's the question we have to ask ourselves, and really do something in order that that possibility that every home should be able to have the internet should be there. Because if the internet is flying above you, if you don't have a device, I'm not sure Mr. Mufara will give you a device in order to receive internet. There also need for electricity for you to have. So you have to make a certain effort on the ground to be able to have that. But if you permit me, maybe I'll go back and comment a little on what Brother Colin just said, which is very pertinent. And he was talking about the banking sector. Remember, Sister Comfort, I had an accident a year ago. No, a year, about 2 months ago, 1 year, 2 months ago, which kept me down. I had a fracture and so on. The night that I had that accident, I went to the general, I was taken to the general hospital in Bamenda, partially conscious. I imagined that the bike hit me on the leg, I hit my head, I wasn't conscious. And there you have the nurse. The nurse is asking me, what is your name? Where do you stay? What is your profession? They're asking me questions. Imagine in that stress. But when I was a little bit stable, I was asking them, what does it you have here? You cannot computerize the system. And they have our information. I've come to this hospital severally. You don't wait for me to come in that kind of state and you're asking me questions and expecting me to give you answers that you depend on in order to start giving me treatment or whatever. Suppose I came in unconscious. You just need to identify my name, put in the system, and you are able to know my history, whether I'm diabetic, whether I'm this and that, and you know how to proceed. Now, it's not as if they don't have the resources. They do have. Now, back to Pastor. There's a lot that ONPASSIVE can do as part of the solution of trying to go around that problem that I raised initially. And one of it is that ONPASSIVE can approach this problem maybe through the private sector, through the churches, because the churches run hospitals, they run this. They come and tell you, okay, you are running this, you are a church, you are running health institutions around this country. We would like you to computerize everything. We want you to, everybody comes in. We don't want people moving around with exercise books and then people taking and struggling to read and stuff like that. And if you come in like that from the private sector, they will take all of that info. They will, because they come, they will do it. If you do it, for instance, with the Baptists, with the Catholics, and the Presbyterian is functioning, the government people will be ashamed and they will want to do it as well because the population will be shaming. They look at what these other people are doing. So gradually, you might go to academic institutions, want you to be able to deliver lectures through our O Connect, want you to do this, want you to do that. You give them the aid, they're able to do it. From those small these things, with the help of our people who are in the sector, in the diaspora, we can try to go around, use those methods to go around the lack of will by public officials in embracing technology. I think that could be partially a solution to it, even though it's not all of it.
Okay, sure. We'll continue to discuss solutions within our ranks, like in our family meeting, because we have to go on and on and on and on. We insist, like the guy in the Bible, until they finally open the doors for us. This has to work. So, you know, earlier on, Brother John was talking about like we're just more than charity, you know, like, and the good news here, PSO, is the fact that Ash has kind of rendered charitable. It's not like we're saying we're not appreciating people who have been doing charitable works for the centuries. But then Ash has rendered that obsolete in that he is here now to give the net and point to the pool. So go get fish for yourself. So can you elaborate a bit more on that and see how far this can take us?
Yeah, thank you so much again, Comfort. To be honest, that one of the things I love about your show is that word empowerment network, because that's just it's about some of the things I do by God's grace. I would rather like to empower people than to keep feeding them, because there's no dignity in living a beggarly life when somebody is responsible for your house keep, your money for food, money to pay your rent every now and then. See, the way God created man is such that everybody deserves some kind of self-respect. So even beggars, those who beg all the times, deep down inside them, they are defeated. They are not happy. That is why when they beg on the street and you don't give to them, if you look at their faces very well, you find out that there's some form of rejection. God doesn't want people to live like that. So we thank God for all of the aids and all of the supports from the West. But I think it is high time we began to say, you know what, can we help you guys to be self-sufficient so that you can also keep giving forward? And I think that is the gift that God has given to us in the person of Mr. Mufara. So we are challenging our African brothers and sisters, to be very proactive, get on this bandwagon and get involved as soon as possible, because this thing is coming like a tsunami. It's going to invade the whole of African continent and the rest of the world very soon. We believe in it. Personally, I'm not going to put my name, by God's grace, on anything that I know it's not going to fly, because that's all I have. So we believe that the best way to help people is to empower them, give them something to survive for the time being, but have a long-term plan so that they won't have to keep coming back to you again and again, because it is a defeatist mentality to keep begging. God did not make anybody that way. So I believe strongly that this approach is the best. That we're going to come there to you, come there, give you a net to fish so that you can be self-sufficient, and so that this is something that has to do with fulfillment when you are also giving. We are meant to give. You see, when you give, there is something that comes with it that makes you very joyful. But if you don't have anything to give, that's why when you see a child that is hungry and you are helpless because you yourself you are hungry, it doesn't speak well. You go home sad. So Mr. Mufara is giving us the privilege through the grace of God to say, we're going to take care of you first, then you might pay forward. So I think that's the best thing.
Yes. Thank you. So, Collins, what do you have in mind? You've listened to a bit more stuff than others.
Yes. No, why the Pastor Sam was talking and John said a lot of things came in my head. I was just thinking, this is how ONPASSIVE will play in the African continent. Remember, we have a lot of founders, right? And if we look at the population, look at the gadget they are using, they use some of the best phones. But the problem is the internet. And the internet is because they're going for the cheap bundle. You don't have money, so you go for the one that you can afford. So just imagine when the Apple will come and you can go, because ONPASSIVE is a business. It's not a charity like the way my brother said it. ONPASSIVE is a business, and you need a proper internet connection to run a business. So just imagine what will happen to those founders when things will start to roll on. They will have enough to go for the higher bundle like a business, and they'll be able to run everything. Once they start to run, they'll be having meetings, with, say, for instance, John is in Cameroon. He said, all right, I want to speak to a lot of people. You bless them to come in, right? Maybe as an affiliate, they grow up and you're having your meeting. You don't need to drive again from Bamenda maybe to Limbe to have meeting or to Yaoundé. He said, let's gather on O Connect, because at that time, ONPASSIVE empowered all of you financially and business, with the business you have in ONPASSIVE. You don't need to take all that risks again to be driving, just sit and have that connection. What will happen? A lot of companies or people will see it and say, my God, what is happening? Say, you know what? If you want to join me, join O Connect. I don't need to travel all the way there. Most of them will come to use our product because it's video conferencing. Just imagine when Opal will come out. And remember, they are working on the connectivity as well. So the problem will be based on our broadband, but the connectivity on ONPASSIVE is working to make sure it consumes less, so you can have that pinpoint connectivity. How many people are using WhatsApp in African continent? Nearly everybody. The people don't even call direct. When Opal will come, it will blow that continent. It will blow the continent because a lot of people will use Opal because they are tests for technology. The African continent is yearning for technology. Whatever they have, just think about the communication sector, the way people communicate now using WhatsApp, using Facebook. What will happen when all of this come out? ONET. And ONET is more safer. You can have your club, you can have a lot of things. O-mail, more secure. And you have O Connect. So a lot of, I believe companies will jump on this application. One, is affordable. Two, has more features. Just imagine you are sitting in Yaoundé. You want to interview somebody in Douala. You don't need the person to drive. Go to O Connect, sign. Do you agree? Yes. Then the document, the person sign, dual screen recognition, and you can put your signature there. You download yours, I download mine through O Connect. So it will reduce the risks of traveling, risks of going here, sit there, do we agree? And then we do it. So, but now this is the power of ONPASSIVE, empowering people with the technology and affordable price, and the affiliate have something to run their own business because ONPASSIVE is business, and it will just blow across the African continent.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. I was just nodding and nodding and nodding. Guys, we are just in the right place at the right time right now. And this generation of ours, I believe that if we let it go off our hands, God will blame us because it's not by accident that it comes now.
This for once I wanted to add, a lot of founding members will create job opportunity in the continent. What would they use? They'll use ONPASSIVE products, O Connect, O Trip, all of those things they will use to run their business. So there will be a sample, a model, within the continent where people say, why is Mr. John business running with a lot of employees? You're giving them pay raise, giving them all the facility, empower them for them to grow. Why is Pastor Sam business running? Because your business is about empowering. You are not doing it to make money, but you're just empowering people. Anybody who will come into your sector will be blessed. And the government will look at it and say, this is a model of business we want to have. Everybody want to work for you because they will know if they come, they will have the best standard of working environment and, best salary and whatever, because you are taking care of them. So everybody, the place will just, that's what is in my head. I'm just looking at it and saying, like, the founders will blow this place.
Can I say something really quick?
Go for it, bro. Just go for it.
Well, this is getting more interesting. I mean, Colin just dropped a massive bomb about some of the things that will happen that are going to be the good side effects of ONPASSIVE. For instance, in Nigeria and other parts of Africa, the mortality rate is dropping because they took too much pressures. I understand that in Lagos, a place that normally would take you about 30 minutes, you can run into traffic, and you're going to be there you can be stopped for another 4 hours. So there are guys that will leave their home at 5 a.m. to go to work, and they are supposed to resume at 9 a.m., but they have to leave 3 hours or 4 hours before they resume because of traffic. So they repeat the same thing when they're going back in the evening. So they only sleep for an average of 2-3 hours a day. How do you expect that person to live in peace, to live a healthy life? But by the time we launch this product, some of those commits will be drastically reduced because You don't have to go out except it is absolutely necessary. And also the government, if they are very proactive and they are very smart enough, they should embrace ONPASSIVE, because when people are making money, then the people will pay taxes. So the economy, you know, the money is revolving around the economy. So I challenge you, if you're a politician and you are watching this now, or you're going to watch the recording, ONPASSIVE is your friend. You better embrace it. And people are going to make money and they're going to pay taxes into your economy. And you're going to take the credit for what did not start. What a life.
Okay.
Listen, we can go on and on and on. Somebody said, I think it was Auntie Lynn, she thinks that this discussion has to continue. So let's gradually round up and see how the evening is. Brother John, I'm not leaving you out, but I give you all the time you need, because after this, when you drop the mic now, you only come back in the next session. So your closing remark and any other thing that's sitting on your chest, go for it, bro.
Okay, I think if you look at the discussions and the meeting of yesterday, we need, what is very important is for us to understand that whatever happens now is going to depend on this whole idea of business or IT being a game of numbers. So we have to continue to try to see how to get people on board. No matter what we discuss now, if we don't keep increasing the number of people who are joining ONPASSIVE, it will mean that if we increase the number, it will also increase the interest of the leadership of ONPASSIVE on the continent. We are already lucky that Ash has the ear is open. The heart is there towards this idea of trying to accompany people discover who they are. So we are lucky to have that. We have CEOs around the world, powerful ones, who don't even look at, they are looking at the moon, they're thinking about how to go into outer space and enjoy themselves. They're not looking at how to help somebody who is in distress. We are lucky to have that kind of CEO. So let's build the numbers. We keep building the numbers. We can use those numbers to do many things. And of course, by the time they are coming, if those of you who are out there, especially in the IT sector, if there are opportunities, get the young people out here to get out there and get the skills. Because once we start working, we will need many of them on the ground. Because you have, let me tell you that the idea that I even had in mind is that if we're in a position to suggest to ONPASSIVE that they need an academy, a nursery. If you look at how football functions in Europe, the best clubs in Europe have nursery. How do those nurseries function? They go into these, but that's why I started by pointing out the demographic in order for it to serve as a basis for our argument tonight, that they go to those areas that have young people, the largest population of young people, and pick up the talents who are still underage, come and put them in the nursery, train them, and then they get into the upper team, the main team. By the time they shine, they just put them into the main team. That's how they continue to sustain themselves. So one of the things that maybe leadership for ONPASSIVE could consider is the idea of a nursery. You come to Cameroon here, I'm on the ground in Cameroon. I want to say that, and those of you who are from Cameroon, you understand that if you get to the GC A level, for instance, the students that have 5 papers at A levels and make 25 points on 25 are the geniuses. If you pick up those geniuses into an ONPASSIVE academy, nursery, and train them, give them scholarships, I'm telling you that in the next few years, because the old people will definitely retire, in the next few years, the other giants will not compare them. So if we have more and more of those, our young people into IT, because information technology now is very important. If they have many of those opportunities, let them remain in the West now. That will be okay. When the moment comes, they will return and take over whatever thing we want to do and man them. Great. I think that is a job we need to do, and we begin to think in that direction. And since you are closing, we can we can't say everything for today. There's a lot to say, but
we need to come back, because on and on and on until we're done. But there's something you just said, which I want you to throw it back to you in form of a proverb, which says that if you think that you are too small to make a difference, try spending the night with a mosquito. You said that. So you earlier on, Brother John, you said that if you are in a position to propose to ONPASSIVE, you have forgotten that this is ONPASSIVE, and Mr. Mufare listens to everybody. He even asks, what do you suggest? Right? It's just about you telling, say, I suggest that we bring up this nursery, and then he says, okay, let's see if something we can do, and stuff like that. Never think that your opinion or your suggestion would not go anywhere. I would listen. If he can't do it today, it will surely be on a list of something that he might think about, because it sounds really, really great. So
I was their suggestion. I was just trying to be modest.
I know. So Collins, I would like to give the closing remark, and then we'll give it back to our brother to end the session for us finally.
Yeah, Collins. So it was really a great discussion. So just looking at the continent, like a pastor said, you know, ONPASSIVE is our friend. You know, ONPASSIVE is not coming to take anything away from the continent. ONPASSIVE is coming to enhance, you know, our continent, to make it more robust, more productive in every sector. We just have to embrace it, because it's an IT technology company, global, driven by AI. And AI now is the order of the day. You cannot do anything without AI. So looking at the population, we can just say, yes, let's embrace it. You know, we're talking about those, like Brother John talked about, those who have been to school. There are people who go to school from primary until they graduate. They're retired without ever earning a dime. You know, people go on retirement without ever working. They've never ever worked in their life. Not because they are lazy, because there is no opportunity for them. ONPASSIVE is your friend. It's coming to give hope to the hopeless, you know, voice to the voiceless. And it will empower you, like we said, empowerment network. It is coming to empower you, for you to see that there is something out there, you know, something better than what you are thinking. It's coming to take you out of your own bubble and expose you massively and elevate you, where you will ask yourself, God, what is happening to me? Just take a look at ONPASSIVE. That's the only thing I will say, and I'll leave it there.
Thank you so much, bro. And of course, PSO, you have the mic now. Say everything you have in mind, conclude, and then we get out here.
Well, thank you again, Comfort. We cannot thank you enough for this platform. We are not taking it for granted. And I want to appreciate dear brother John and my dear brother here, you know, the smiling Collins. Thank you so much. And everyone, all of our friends, you know, from other countries, even though we're talking about Africa because we were privileged to host yesterday, but we are in it together. So two quick things I want to drop is, please, while we're waiting for ONPASSIVE to begin to reward us with, you know, the finances and all of that, please, let's trust God to remain calm and begin to develop ourselves mentally, emotionally, and in every area, because success of finance or breakthrough will only reveal what you are. So if you're a bad person, if money comes, trust me, you're going to be worse. You're going to be worse. But if you're a good person, you're going to become a better person. So people say, oh, you know, this person is not so arrogant, it's not so proud because he has money. No, he has always been. Money just reveal who he has always been. So if you find out that there are pitfalls in your life, like maybe you get petty over little things, or you know, you're arrogant, or you are full of lust, or there are some things in your life that are not too great. Trust me, when success comes, you know, those things can destroy you. So I want to encourage us to begin to have a sober reflection on our lives, reflecting on our lives, and begin to say, you know what, I need to make adjustments in this area. I need to make adjustments in this area, so that by the time God begins to manifest what He has promised, then we can live a better life and help people. Then finally, quickly, I also want to say that the truth of the matter is that Africa is no longer a dark continent. You know, I'm not suffering from jingoism. I'm not trying to defend my continent, radically. But gone are the days when people say, "Oh, Africa is a dark continent." No, Africa is not a dark continent anymore. And I thank God for all of our friends who are not Africans who are here, who are bearing witnesses. You need to Google it. 40% of mineral resources are in Africa. Africa is just about 9% of the whole population. So like I said earlier, the problem we have is leadership problem. And I see that there are many of us here today who will go back to Africa at some point to help those who are there to bring synergy so that our continent can affect the rest of the world positively, so that the global village can work together in love and joy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brothers. I appreciate you so much, and I'm so blessed having you all here this evening. PSO, you're back to stay. Brother John, you're here to stay. So each time, just be ready. I'm coming, because this discussion has to go on and on and on. Yeah, and I know that we can do it. I'm just trying to relate to somebody. Lex Andrews, I've sent you a message on Facebook, if that's you. So let's go from there, please. Thank you so much. So guys, I really appreciate you. Thank you. And thanks too for all of the comments and contributions in the chat. Like we always say on this platform, if it's just me and these men here, it can be really boring. So it's the fun, because we all are just in it, and comments coming from here and there complementing one another. Let's keep on keeping on. Let's keep the fire burning, because the future is bright. Thank you. Love you all, and see you soon, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.